last weekend, it doesn't feel huge, right, on the national scale, but I actually think it is gigantic. The Bears at Arizona. Arizona's playing well now. We know they beat San Francisco. They went to Miami, and I'm like, I didn't trust them. And then now they play Chicago. So, and you got all these Bears players coming out publicly this week, like a DJ Moore. And I thought the Bears coaching was a mess in the second half. I got no problem with the players coming out and saying, it's not good enough. But if you look at Caleb, this is why it is a little bit of a tinderbox here. If you look at Caleb, he had finally given us a 3-game stretch. He was getting better, better, better. He was very confident. He was moving. He wasn't panicking. And we're all thinking, okay, Caleb's what we thought. Then off a bye, they go to Washington, and he's out of sorts. He completes 42% of his throws. Passer ratings at 60. First 7 series, all punts. It was a mess. So it's a huge step back. And the Bears have yet to face, remember, they've yet to face one NFC North team. And it's the best division in football. So the next couple of weeks, they have Arizona and New England. They got to win those games because this thing could unravel really fast. If you go look at their schedule, it is just a gauntlet of Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay. But they have 2 games they should win. Arizona and New England. And if they don't, this puppy could unravel. Because remember, Matt Eberflus, as a road coach, has won 3 of 17 games. Or 3 of 20. He's 3-17. So Matt Eberflus, bad road coach. Matt Eberflus, bad coach in Division 2-10. So there are just moments in time for an organization that doesn't have the infrastructure or the historical inertia and momentum to overcome turbulence. And losing that game last week, that second half was turbulence. So this thing, I think Chicago could go off the tracks if they lose against Arizona. Then the New England game is a go-either-way game. Then into your gauntlet at Detroit, at Minnesota, Green Bay, at Green Bay. So this is a franchise. Caleb Williams is a quarterback. They're just trying to get their feet under them and be consistent, and they had been for 3 weeks. And now, last week, second half, you see how quickly the Chicago Bears can get. I mean, you went from feeling great about the organization to, the hell am I watching? And that's what happens when you don't have an infrastructure. You don't have a great coach. You don't have a great history. You don't have a stacked roster. Little turbulence, and you get veering off the tracks. Here's Caleb Williams trying to rebound from that Commodores mess.
We just lost the game. We lost the game in a way that sucks. There's obviously a sense of accountability that I have to take. Didn't play well first half. They got multiple 3 points that allowed them to put themselves in a position to be able to obviously have that 30-second drive and throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah. The other thing I think is interesting this week has been the pushback on the Colts moving.
Okay, no. We're talking Chicago Bears. Okay. So listen, the one thing that I really kind of take issue with, and I don't think Colin meant this in like a in like a negative way, it was just kind of the phrasing, is that saying that Caleb went backwards, right? Because of the game, that how it unfolded versus the Commanders. And I don't see it that way. I don't see it as like, oh, Caleb was getting better and better and better and better, and now he's regressed. Having a bad game, bad drives, bad moments doesn't mean that you regressed. Patrick Mahomes has not been playing good this year. Has he regressed? Is he a worse quarterback now? Has he just forgotten how to play? No, not at all. No, I don't think any unbiased person would even remotely think that. So Caleb still shows some really awesome things. And in the fourth quarter, when he did need to step up, he did step up. So if anything, that game, even though it was far from a good game, it was far from a great game, and he absolutely had some issues, right? That cannot be denied. Cannot be denied. We can blame coaching. Coaching is a huge part of it, but also some of it is on Caleb. No question. But he still showed that he could handle the moment. He stepped up when he needed to. He made big plays when it was, you gotta have it. That's growth. So that's not going backwards. That's not going backwards at all. And like I keep maintaining for this game, is that this was kind of a mix of everything for this game. If we were looking at it and be like, what are the takeaways? The takeaways were, When Shane Waldron did set Caleb up for some nice easy throws, Caleb missed them. When Caleb needed some nice easy throws to get some momentum going, Shane Waldron didn't set him up for it. When the game was really like, oh my God, we need Caleb to make a big play, Caleb made a big play, right? So we saw a little bit of everything. And part of that one fumble to the backup center, Dan Orlovsky kind of pointed out that, he argued that it was on Caleb Williams, that he handed the ball off way too high up. So if you want to blame that on Caleb, doesn't matter at this point. But to me, if I'm looking at this through the lens of a rookie quarterback, I know this game was not perfect. I know that. And I know Caleb Williams was far from balling out against the Washington Commanders. But if I'm looking at this through a rookie lens and not the sky-high expectations that Nick Wright put out on the Chicago Bears and Caleb, right, saying that Caleb and the Bears are going to go to the Super Bowl, and I'm just looking at this through the lens of, this is a rookie quarterback. He's played 7 games. I would say that 7th game was actually more positive than negative because of what I saw him be able to do in the big moments. And that was Nick Wright's actual argument for Caleb when he was kind of defending that loss. And so I do agree in that aspect. I do think you have to acknowledge and accept that those first 3 quarters, I forget exactly what it was. What did he have, like 30 some yards, in the first 3 quarters? But again, that was a combination between a rookie being a rookie, what are you going to do, and Shane Waldron not setting him up, right? It's really a combination. Because, yeah, if Caleb does hit a couple of those throws, as Romo pointed out, it's like there was a couple times that it was like, it's a massive gain, a touchdown, right, whatever it may be, and that changes everything. That changes the game, they win, and now nobody's panicking, no one's talking about coaching, this, that, and the third. Right? They'd be 5-2, and people would be like, all right, they're competing to win the division, not just make the playoffs, but win the division, right? Minnesota Vikings are losing games now. Packers, what's going on with Jordan Love, right? Like it makes it wide open, but they lost. They lost in a way that you could really highlight the coaching. People are using that game as a way to jump on Caleb Williams and act like, oh, he's bad. And this is what I said before the season ever started. I said, Caleb Williams is going to have great moments. And when he has those great moments, people are going to say, oh my God, this guy is going to be better than Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. He's going to be Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady times 10. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. No one can stop him. And then when he plays bad, it's going to be, I told you he's a bust. He's awful. He's trash. He doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. And that is what we see, this swing, this left and right, left and right. Although the interesting thing is that when he's played poorly or hasn't had great moments, it does seem that they lean on they seem to blame coaching more than Caleb, which is interesting. So, while Caleb and the Bears bounce back from a tough loss, what I find interesting is that people say that this game, right, like Colin said, if they lose this game, this thing can completely unravel. And yet, I know technically on the road, 1.5 points is pretty much kind of like a coin flip, so to speak, technically. But at the same time, it's not like the Bears are favored to win this game by 7 or something. Like, again, if we're looking at this through the understanding that this is a young team with a rookie quarterback, there should not be so much pressure to win this game. If Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders lost against the Bears, were they saying this is going to be a big issue if they lose this game? They lose this game. Look how Caleb Williams was able to lead the game-winning drive, and Jaden Daniels wasn't. He had a Hail Mary, and it fell short. This is a disaster. We're going to have to fire the coach. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's sounding the alarm. It's because the expectations for the Commanders were so low. Now, granted, there's a deeper, higher level of respect for Dan Quinn, the head coach, and Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator. But that wasn't always the case. People were not super high on Cliff Kingsbury. I personally was, but a lot of people weren't, right? And I know people were already souring on Eberflus, and so it's easy to now kind of really lean on that when the going gets tough. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that that's not the appropriate reaction. It's just that the expectations for this Bears team and for what Caleb can do is just so high that this idea that if they lose to the Cardinals, it's somehow devastating or proof that there's a fundamental issue, whether it be with Caleb or coaching or whatever, that's the issue that I disagree with. Especially if we just said the Cardinals are kind of feisty and they beat the 49ers, who Colin thinks is a top 10 team. So if Colin thinks that the Cardinals are a top 10 team, or if the 49ers are a top 10 team and the Cardinals are capable of beating a top 10 team, why would losing to the Cardinals be this devastating blow? And I'm not saying that I think they're going to lose or win. You know, I haven't thought about it too deeply in this moment. Because for me, everything is always, for the Cardinals, is always about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray either plays out of his mind, like literally one of the greatest quarterbacks you could ever set your eyes on, or not so much. And the team is just 100% reliant on Kyler Murray. They need him to ball out. They win. If he doesn't, they lose. Kyler Murray cannot play just like a good average game and the Cardinals win. So yeah, if the Cardinals play the Bears and Kyler balls out and is being Kyler, being like just an outrageously gifted quarterback, and they lose, like, you're not gonna be like, oh, Caleb's not good, Bears not good, sell it all. It's too extreme from my viewpoint. So, but yeah, no, I think people also, the other problem is that once Caleb goes on a stretch where he plays well, right, against the Rams, the Panthers, and the Jags, and people now say, like, this is the floor, right? What he did against the Jags, that's the floor now. And anything below that is regression. Like, he's not allowed to have bad throws. He's not allowed to have bad drives. Not allowed to have bad games. And it's like, guys, what are we doing here? We got to give the guy some grace. He is a rookie quarterback, right? There's a lot going on here. So I just think we have to be significantly more patient, and we have to stop creating scenarios that are constantly do or die for the team as a whole, for the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams even more so. But criticizing coaching is fair game. That is 1000% fair game. So I do agree with that. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams? Do you think they'll be able to bounce back from the loss against the Commanders versus the Cardinals? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.